everyone, and welcome to Netflix Roulette. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Eric picked the movie that we're going to be talking about today. Once again, if you haven't listened to Netflix Roulette before, what we're doing with this show between seasons of Arrow is Eric and I are picking movies that we've never seen before that are on Netflix. And neither of us had seen this film before reviewing it. Now, obviously, now we've both seen it because we're going to be discussing it. And Eric, what movie did we pick this time?
Troll Hunter.
What possessed you to pick Troll Hunter?
I have heard about Troll Hunter since it was released in 2010. People have been telling me it was really good. It was actually weird because I'd seen a review that was like, it's really good, and I told a friend of mine about it, and he watched it, really liked it, bought the DVD. I actually have the DVD sitting in my office, waiting for me to watch it. And then I was like, oh, it's on Netflix. I'll just use this as an excuse to finally watch this movie. Because I borrowed it from my friend like 4 months ago. So I'd heard it was really good, and I'd been meaning to get around to seeing it. So I figured it was a good excuse to do that.
So this is a Norwegian film.
This is a Norwegian film.
So it's kind of neat that we're going off in some different territories here, and literally different territories, and discussing a foreign film, which is not something that we do very much on the channel. I don't know how many foreign films you've reviewed, Eric. I know you've done some anime and some Japanese stuff, but beyond that,
I've done some John Woo movies from when he was in China. I think that's it.
Okay, cool. So today we're going to be talking about something that is subtitled, and again on the show we're giving full spoilers, just talking about the movie. We try to tell people what we're doing before this, so you can watch it in case you want to listen to us talk about it. And first of all, this is kind of like one of those found footage movies, which is always weird. That by the way, that Eric, that subgenre is called found footage, because a lot of these things, the footage isn't really found. You know what I mean?
Well, this had the opening and ending thing where it made it seem like it was found.
Yeah, I guess it's true. And we should talk about that because I'm not real sure who got a hold of, like, according to the story, I'm not real sure who got a hold of the footage and how, considering it looks like the government has it at the end of the movie.
I don't like found footage films, and I don't think this needed to be found footage, except for, like, one or two running scenes. It's shot like a normal movie where they just talk to the camera.
That's true. Well, what I liked about it, about the premise here, it being a found footage movie, is that it's not like we need some goofy conceit for why a person is holding a camera, like we had with something like Cloverfield, which I'll admit, I like Cloverfield better than most people. But like that movie had kind of a gimmick of, well, this guy just is walking.
Well, here it's kind of a documentary.
Yeah, they think they're making a documentary, and it's a lot like the conceit for Blair Witch.
Oh yeah, well, except they don't really start. Well, do you want to do like a plot synopsis before we really get into it?
Let's do that, especially because I'm sure some folks are going to listen to this and not see the movie. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, do you have the Wikipedia page open?
I do.
Pronounce the director's name.
Oh, wow, okay, all right.
I can't. I
would assume it's Andre Overdahl.
Oh, is it Overdahl? Because I don't know what a circle with a line through it sounds like.
I'm not sure either. Well, I mean, like if I was going to attempt it, in a Norwegian accent, I'm not real sure how you pronounce that, but,
okay. Anyways, I
don't know if it's Everdal or Overdahl. Yeah, you're revealing all of our weaknesses. but anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead. Give us a plot synopsis.
All right, so very briefly, because this film's actually pretty easy to sum up. The devil's really in the details here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's about two college students who are. I'm kind of confused what they're doing at the beginning of the film, because it looks like they're making a documentary about a poacher, a bear poacher. They don't seem to think that they're looking into something weird at the beginning. No. I'm not sure why you would make a documentary about a bear poacher. And I'm not sure why you would be surprised when he doesn't talk to you. Because they're kind of surprised, and he's like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
But so anyways, they're making this documentary about this bear poacher, and they're kind of following him around. And then they discover he's, in fact, not a bear poacher. He is Norway's lone troll hunter, which is apparently something that Norway's had for a long time. It's employed by the government. Trolls have territory that they're allowed in, and when they leave that territory, he puts them down. They follow him around while he hunts trolls, and the government's kind of chasing them. And that's the movie, really.
Yeah. And it follows them finding trolls and him taking trolls down, and then it ends with him kind of running off, which we should talk about because I'm not entirely sure what the ending is doing.
Yeah, the ending's weird.
But yeah, there's all this stuff at the end, that I found really interesting and really appreciated, about, the troll hunter's name is Hans, and Hans, at the end, seems, very regretful and remorseful about some of the trolls that he's had to kill, that the government has forced him to kill. There are some major overtones about animal cruelty in the movie, which I think are really well handled, actually. And, you get to the end of the movie, and the reason he has allowed these kids to follow him around with a camera when originally he didn't want them to, of course, is because he's decided he's fed up with this game. He doesn't get compensated well enough by the government. He doesn't like doing it. It's difficult work. And also he's more importantly, again, he's remorseful about some of the trolls he's had to kill. And so at the end, he takes down this last giant troll, and then he just runs off. And that's kind of how the movie ends. And then the government guy that's been chasing them and doesn't want them to be filming, tries, steals their footage. And then the camera gets run over by a truck, and maybe the person holding the camera also gets run over by a truck. I'm not sure. And then the movie's over. It was a really strange ending to an otherwise really engaging movie, I thought.
Yeah, no, I thought he dropped the camera and kept running because it was weird because the sound effects seemed to make me think that he got hit, but you just watch a truck coming. It doesn't look like he's getting hit. It was weird.
What I found difficult about just buying the conceit of, and I guess I feel the need to talk about the found footage thing because when you have a premise like this, I think that's kind of important. Like what the presentation is and who it's from. What you get here is somebody has edited all of this together.
Right.
But why would the government edit it together? Because they don't want this information to get out. But they seem to have all the footage at the end.
Well, but then when it gets to the end, it seems very much like it's not the government because one, it says it's looking for them, and then there's that stinger with the senator, which is really funny.
No, it's not the senator. It's the prime minister.
It's the prime minister, which is really funny. And I have this weird feeling. I'm like, you made this movie so you can do that joke, didn't you?
Where he mentions trolls and then
in the middle of a sentence, he's like, we're dealing with foreign policies. Trolls exist, and we are.
He says Norway has trolls.
Yeah, Norway has trolls.
Yeah, that was really strange. But anyway, so yeah, we should obviously talk about the ending a little bit.
Do you want to start there, or do you want to start maybe?
But I don't know if I want to start there. Let's start with Hans. So this is really kind of a character piece for this troll hunter guy. I don't feel like any of the kids that are following him with this camera are like major fully realized characters, and I'm not sure they're supposed to be. Not that I don't care what happens to them, but the movie's not about them. That's not the point. And I really enjoy that because it's called Troll Hunter, and it focuses very much on the troll hunter. And this guy is really no nonsense. He's really hardened by his job, but there's some nice moments of levity with him too, and he reminded me a whole lot of Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, I can see that. A more rugged Donald Sutherland.
Well, have you seen the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie?
No, I've not.
Oh, okay. Well, Donald Sutherland plays the Watcher in that. And this guy looks just like he did in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Like when you say a more rugged Donald Sutherland has done rugged before.
Oh,
and,
I didn't know that.
I mean, like he did it in the Buffy movie. And this guy he seems a lot like a Norwegian Donald Sutherland to me. And I really enjoyed his performance. I thought he was fantastic.
I was confusing Donald Sutherland with a different Sutherland. I apologize. I just looked him up. I was like, oh, that's not who I was thinking of.
No, Kiefer Sutherland's dad.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking of somebody else. But okay, yeah. I just looked him up. Yeah, he does look like him. He's got there's a line in this that seems like a really generic line, but I think is really good in the context, where they're like, "You're a national hero," and he says, "I'm not a hero. What I do is dirty." He has this edge to him that's just like, it's just a job. He's like a lumberjack. This is just what he does. There's nothing special about this for him.
And I also like how conflicted he is about it, because he's performing a public service, but sometimes it goes too far and he's forced to make really bad ethical choices.
Yeah.
I really liked that. And they run the gambit of social commentary in this movie. It's you know, I mentioned the animal cruelty thing. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of like keeping things from the public that maybe the public ought to know about, a cover up. And I thought that was a brilliant way to go with this, because it's the only possible way that if these giant trolls were running around, people wouldn't know about it, especially with modern technology. But that was a really good way to go with it. And then there's a lot of really interesting religious stuff.
There's one specifically that I want to get to, but the other thing is when they first ask him, like, why do you want us to videotape you? He specifically goes into, like, I don't get paid enough, there's no pension, stuff like that, which is
and
also
what I like,
very...
From a storytelling perspective, I think it's really cool how much of a mystery he is through the movie. He's kept very mysterious, and he's somewhat... He opens up to them as the film goes on, but what keeps me invested in both the character and in the movie is not the troll stuff. It's learning more about this guy. They keep dropping interesting things as it goes along. So at first, we're told by him that he doesn't want to do this anymore because of the things you just mentioned, but then we find out that it's more layered than that by the end.
Right.
I don't know. I was impressed with that. I thought all the troll lore was really interesting.
Well, that was the thing that I'd heard about this movie a bunch, was that they went back to the original troll lore and used all of that, which is, supposedly there's an American remake coming. I don't think it works like it does in Norway, because we don't have troll myth here.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't do that. I think this film is really, really solid, and it might be a low-budget movie, but it looks quite good.
Yeah,
and
it looks really good.
In fact, I'm going to go this far. I think this movie could be released in American theaters exactly the way it is, and people would react well to it.
It was, but it was like one of those 1 week limited release things.
But I mean, I think you could wide release this thing.
I think so too. I think you have that problem with people not wanting to read subtitles.
That's fine, whatever. But I don't know. I think a lot of people would react well to it.
Oh, I think so too. And the people that I know that have seen it have reacted well to it.
The budget was only 19 million. No, I'm sorry. It was 3.5 million American dollars. I mean, like, they didn't spend much money on this at all. And dude, they made this for $3 million. The CG is decent.
The CG is really good for $3 million.
At the end, when the troll is like stepping over the car as it's driving, I was impressed.
I love the design of the trolls. It's so like folk tale-y, but it never seems silly. I can't believe
they made me care about something about trolls. like going into this, I was like, oh, trolls, who cares? And I mean, they gave it the reverence that you would give for like vampire lore. They made me really interested in it. And I mean, as it went along, I started flashing back to elementary school and remembering storybooks with trolls in them and going, oh yeah, trolls do live under bridges. And I mean, there are bridge trolls, and like the whole thing about, they turn into stone or they explode. I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. They're borrowing from things that I guess I've heard of and forgot all about.
One of the big ones is he yells at them because one of them is Christian. And in earlier or not censored versions of Jack and the Beanstalk, that's one of the things that the giant says is, I smell the blood of a Christian man.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
What I really liked about that was it was kind of played up for comedy in places and it worked, but then there's some misdirection that goes on there because it's a little bit funny that this kid is Christian, but he keeps saying he just went to Sunday school when he was a kid or something.
Yeah.
And then that ends up being a really, like, one of the darkest emotional beats in the film is the kid gets killed because he's a Christian.
Yeah.
And the troll gets him, and his faith can't save him. And I think it's important that he is praying when he gets killed. You have this natural, somehow this doesn't make any sense at all, but you have this creature they make a big deal out of how it is a natural creature. These are not mystical in nature at all. And they are, at least as far as we understand them. And importantly, you've got that veterinarian that gives us the science of why they turn to stone and stuff. So, like,
that was really cool.
I love that. So they're making a big deal out of that. And then it's like, okay, so these creatures evolved to smell the blood of Christian people. Somehow they evolved to be able to tell what is in your heart by your blood.
Well, the thing is,
It's really interesting.
It's not that they really take away anything mythological about them. It's just that they give scientific explanations for parts of them.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because I wondered about that a little bit. It's like, well, it doesn't make sense if they're purely natural. But then there's this component of like they kill you because you have a certain belief system. And then obviously at the end, we know that it's not just their blood, because you can play Christian music and they'll chase you.
Right.
And I wondered what that was about, but it was hilarious. And I thought all that was really interesting. And I'm admitting that I don't fully understand it, so maybe that's a bit of a problem, but it was also very entertaining.
Well, it's part of troll lore, so.
Yeah, so it's in there, and it's not explainable. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought all of the troll lore stuff was really interesting. 'Cause I don't know a lot about trolls, and I had kind of a similar thing that you did, where I was like, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, I remember that. I didn't see any of the trolls doing riddles, so I was a little bummed.
Well, I like that I like that they're animals and not like some subculture.
Yeah.
That just makes a lot more sense. Well, they'd have to be, or it would be a lot harder to find Hans to be a sympathetic character at all.
Well, and it would be a lot harder to keep them hidden too if they weren't just animals.
So, like, a lot of that lore is they use just, straight off the page, but of all those old stories. But then he also has that line where he says, the folk tales are not always exactly the same as what's in reality, and so that's how you get away with, well, they don't tell riddles.
and well, one thing that I thought was kind of weird is they said they have land. There's an area they're allowed to be.
Yeah.
Where is it?
That's a great question.
Where is the land that nobody ever stumbles upon where the trolls are allowed to be?
And also keep in mind that it can't just be one patch of land, because there's different sets of them that don't get along with other sets of them.
I love the idea of, like, the different breeds. And my favorite idea in this entire film is that they grow multiple heads as they get older.
And that they're not real heads.
No, they're basically just there to, like, flex their muscles for dominance and for, like, mating habit reasons. That was such a cool idea.
And it was neat that we got to see as much troll hunting as we did. I really expected more of a Blair Witch thing where you'd spend the whole movie wondering if there were trolls or not. It doesn't really waste its time at all. I thought it was really well paced for this kind of a movie.
I think it's impressive how much trolls you get to see for how little the budget was.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, we get to see, and also this is kind of a classic, almost folktale-ish thing, right? Where we see three of them, and these sorts of things tend to come in threes, and then they compound on top of each other. So you've got the one with three heads, and then you've got the one under the bridge, who is, by the way, the scene where he's in that armor.
Oh yeah,
it's dropped. That was kind of mortifying, man. I reacted to that. Like, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, and I was like, well, how, are they going to be the troll hunters now? Like, they're not really competent. They don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, I immediately went, well, God, he can't be dead, because what would they do?
Is the rest of the movie just them running from a troll?
And I was really hoping that was not what was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I was really, and I love that he just gets up and he's like, oh, that hurt. He's fine.
Well, actually, what was cool about it to me was that he had a hard time shaking it off.
Yeah. I mean, he's not fine, but like he just gets up and he's like, okay, we have to stop this troll.
Yeah, but I mean, like for a minute, I think he blacked out.
Well, he's just laying there still. They have to like wake him up. I think he got knocked unconscious.
Yeah, exactly. He got knocked unconscious. Did you have the same thing I had, where I just found him really fascinating?
Yeah, he's really interesting. Like the even though it's another language, the performance is really captivating.
I like all these human elements to this guy, where he's really reserved and closed off, and like I said, he's obviously really hardened. But then there's these little things, like he seems to have maybe a little bit of a romance going on with the veterinarian. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, and it's honestly, I think this is a really strong case for not remaking it. We don't make movies where you don't find things out about people. We don't make movies where people are a mystery. We don't do that anymore. We haven't done that in a long time. And you got enough to know who he was and understand where he was coming from and get a sense of him as a character, but you didn't learn everything. And
he felt like a fully realized, flesh and blood human being. I mean, I came to really care about him. And that's why I don't know if I like the ending, because I don't understand what he's doing at the end.
I actually looked at the Wikipedia plot synopsis to tell me what they said happens.
Oh, okay.
Here's what Wikipedia says. Hans manages, after several attempts, to kill the Jotnar by launching a rocket-like projectile that transforms the troll into stone. He directs the others to the highway. That is the last time he's mentioned in the ending. It just says he directs the others to the highway. Finn and his government agents arrive and confiscate the students' tapes. Thomas flees with the camera and is seen collapsing inside the road. Yeah, it just said that's all that Wikipedia says, is he directs them to go the other way. I don't know if he died, or if the government agents got on him, or...
I distinctly remember a camera sitting there for a good long time watching him running the other direction.
Right. No, he's definitely going the other way, but I don't know if the government's after him, if he is now in trouble, if he is technically not a troll hunter now.
Sure, either. He treats it very much like he's about to make a big self-sacrifice. I don't know if you got that, but I felt like he was about to let himself get killed by that troll.
Yeah, it felt weird that he didn't explicitly die.
Because obviously, his career was maybe over.
I was a little confused by the government people.
I don't understand why the main government guy allows them to keep Finn to keep filming, because he's like, I'm not going to let you keep this footage.
I'm not sure why he keeps showing up.
How hard would it be to bring in some government guys and confiscate that stuff? I don't understand.
And he's really dumb, because there's
at the end they chase him. It's like they wait until the troll hunter has defeated the big giant troll, and then now they run after him and try to get the footage. That made zero sense to me.
And he's really dumb, because there's, I think, 2 scenes where they're recording. He's like, is that off? They're like, yeah, it's off. And, like, he doesn't check it. There's no blinking light. He's like, is that off? Yeah. Also, this is the first time I can think of with a found footage movie where we have a cracked lens for a while, and I thought that was interesting.
I like that, but I was a little worried about how long it was going to go on.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I'm like, I don't want the rest of the movie with a cracked lens.
Speaking of the camera, one of the reasons to watch this movie is for the gorgeous scenery.
Oh yeah. Norway. I assume that this is shot in Norway. This is a Norwegian film, because it's beautiful.
The landscapes are worth the price of admission. It's really good. Yeah. Well, whatever the price happens to be. But I'm just saying the scenery's really good.
Yeah. Well, and what's really interesting is it's such natural scenery.
Yeah.
And the troll CG fits in so well with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a great setting, because this is something I'm always harping on for little movies like this, and especially like fan films and things. Use what you've got to your advantage and use minimalism. This honestly is a movie that might play better I'm going to go this far. I think this movie might even play better for foreign audiences than it would for Norwegian audiences, because for us, this is a setting that we're not used to, and it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But I mean, like it's different. It's kind of alien to us. And so, it feels bigger and more epic than it really is to the people making it, because they live there. It didn't cost them all that much to go local.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't know, the scenery's so, I'm kind of interested to know how this plays everywhere else that's not Norway or America.
Okay.
Because we still have, we don't have anything that necessarily looks like this, but there's patches of America that are similar. I'm kind of interested to know, what France thinks about this, or a more deserty country, even more so than us.
By the way, exotic was the word I was looking for.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful film. I don't know if there's any other Norwegian films of note, but it's a great just location.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with it. Like I said, I had some issues with the ending, and with the whole government thing, just because I felt like, it wasn't really selling the premise of these kids are able to keep making this movie.
Well, were you confused why the government agents kept showing up? Because I couldn't figure out why they kept showing up.
There were a couple places where he would mention that he had to talk to him about something, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I wonder if it was just to deliver, if it was just to pick up paperwork.
Oh, yeah, I guess that
because they seem to show up after every troll battle. And if you remember, they have that very amusing paperwork, where they show you what the paperwork is, and they have these, and of course, I can't read Norwegian, but they kindly give you a subtitle for what the sheet is called, and I forget what it is, but it's really funny.
It's like troll kill file or something like that.
It was really funny the way it was worded. And then they have this diagram of a front view and a side view of a troll, on the bottom of it. And I just thought,
and he has boxes to check whether it turned to stone or exploded.
Yes, that was great. I love that. So anyway, I think the government guys are just picking up.
Oh, okay. Well, why wouldn't he tell the kids to hide then? He always seems surprised when they show up.
Yeah, and I wondered why he was willing to take all of them along with him every time.
Yeah.
Just because it seemed like, it was going to be a lot harder to make his kills with all these kids that kept making noise and messing around in the back seat. And I keep calling them kids, but they're
college kids.
They're young adults, but they definitely act like kids. And I don't know, but clearly he's more interested in finishing his job. But he also, like I said, he's still very much a sympathetic character. I mean, he cares about doing this because he's clearly protecting people. And I think they do a really good job of giving you a sense of the stakes. And I also like that things are a little bit unusual here for there is an occasion for story, and it's not just that these kids showed up. That there's some unusual business going on with the trolls. They're not acting like they always do, and there's that whole rabies thing.
I love that explanation. I thought that was such a cool idea. That was why things were a little bit different, why they were acting out, and made the trolls even more sympathetic that they were getting put down.
Yeah.
I thought that the rabies thing.
The movie made me care about the trolls, and I was really surprised by that. And like I said, it's a cool character study.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention. Did you feel like the subtitles were sometimes off, or you were missing things? Because there was
a couple
of points where somebody said something, they didn't subtitle it, and I was like, did I miss something?
Also, there's a short place where people are speaking English, but they're speaking it in such thick accents, I wish they had also subtitled that part.
Yeah, and then when they had that sequence, I was like, maybe they were speaking English before when they didn't subtitle it, and I didn't realize it.
There are a couple little places where they do, but not much.
Yeah, there was a couple times throughout the film where they'd say something, and it wasn't subtitled. And I was like, what did they say? But I never had trouble following the story through the subtitling. I thought it was a decent subtitle job.
Yeah, I thought so too. It didn't make it hard for me to enjoy the movie or to get invested in the characters.
That was actually something I was worried about because I didn't know how you felt about subtitled films. I wasn't sure.
I'm accustomed enough to it from just a few other things I've had to watch that are subtitled.
Right, but yeah, if you haven't seen Troll Hunter, you should definitely check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this one. I liked it a lot. In fact, I like it better than Cloverfield.
Oh, I think it's much better than Cloverfield. I didn't care for Cloverfield.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I actually like Cloverfield. I like this better.
But yeah, I think this is, in 10 years, this is a cult classic.
I think you're right.
It's going to be the movie that, dads or like the cool uncles show to, the 12-year-old kid, like, oh, have you seen Troll Hunter?
Well, it's cool because it's kind of a timeless film, I think. There's not a lot of stuff that dates it.
Yeah, there's not even a lot of like cell phone usage or when they have cell phones, they're not really specific. I mean, maybe in 10 years we don't even have cell phones. We just have pieces of glass, so it will look dated. But
one thing
right now,
I gotta tell you this. One thing I kind of wondered was why they do such a good job of explaining a lot of how the lore works, and then every now and again there would be something that they just say, "This is how it works," or "This is what it is." What's with the satellite thing? Why don't satellites pick up trolls? Why?
I don't know.
I don't understand, but I thought that was hilarious.
I like that he goes through this whole thing about
they don't show up on satellites. Okay.
But that's the last thing he says. He spends like a minute and a half explaining, like, okay, they've looked at this, there's nothing here. They looked at this, there's nothing here. And like he explains like this whole thing and goes, but trolls don't show up on satellites, so it doesn't matter.
And then he's like, no, that's the part I really want you to explain, Hans.
That's what you should lead with.
I don't really get that. Anyway, this is a guy I wouldn't mind seeing another movie about. Not that there would be ever any reason to do that. I mean, I really enjoyed that guy. Like,
Troll Hunter 2, Giant Hunter.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I don't think there should be a sequel to Troll Hunter.
I actually think there's something interesting to be done if they got more into the actual troll hunting business. Like, I'm kind of interested in, how do you get hired for Troll Hunter? Because there's only one. Was there a point where there was more and now it's just not as bad?
A prequel film set in the 70s, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Maybe the 60s even. Sorry about that.
You're right. So finally, we watched one that we really, really liked. Well, I guess you liked John Dies at the End more than I did.
John Dies at the End too.
I liked it. But I mean, this movie I would probably watch again, actually.
This is a movie I'd show to other people. I can't because everyone I know has seen it, hence having a DVD of a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll show this to my wife. I think Sarah would like it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a really good movie. Surprisingly so.
Yeah. So next time we're going to watch something that maybe isn't a very good movie.
There is not a maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't know. We haven't seen it. But we've got this, but probably. So we've got this trend going on so far, and now that I'm catching that it's a trend, I might try to change it. But you seem to be picking movies that are really recent, and I seem to be going back. And
I haven't been doing that intentionally, but yeah.
Yeah, not intentionally, but like you picked the movie from last year, and then you picked the movie from 2010. Last time I picked the movie from 1980. This time I'm picking one from 1993 called The Vanishing, and I'm picking this on cast alone. This is a thriller from 1993 starring Jeff Bridges, Sandra Bullock, and Kiefer Sutherland. Now, looking at the ratings on Netflix, it looks like it's not very promising.
I just looked it up. It's a remake of a Dutch film, so it's also kind of foreign.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Maybe the Dutch film is better.
It was universally seen as inferior to the original.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna watch this movie that was universally seen as inferior to an original movie.
A misjudged, lobotomized Hollywood remake.
That's That's rough. So next time we're going to talk about what is potentially a misjudged lobotomized Hollywood remake. And that ought to be fun. Anyway, until then, thanks very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Bear.
We'll see you later.